Hello, let's get an avatar. We are currently at a time where Games Room doesn't have much, and it's not entirely clear if these will actually give an avatar. So let's play a game that does. I'll be following along this guide, written by 365383. Let's begin. I like fire, and I like life. Then we grab a red wand to do fire damage, and then we begin. First thing to do is talk to Elias, who looks terrible to get lore. No idea if that was actually needed for progression, but I did it anyway. And then we begin the grind. I need to get to level 4 before going to the dank cave, so I'm putzing around the plains fighting low level stuff. It's not very interesting. Here's what getting to level 2 looked like. While training up, I can get items to make myself some armor and talk to the Scorchio to get that made. But once I am level 4, it's time to head to the dank cave. There's a Corbat we can talk to for information. I'm not sure if it's needed for progression, but it's the second most interesting thing I'm going to see in here, so I may as well. The most interesting thing is, of course, the boss, Xantan the Foul, which we want to beat to get his item and make a better weapon with it. While we get the weapon, we can learn where to go next, the jungle, and while in town, we'll also pick up an armor upgrade too. Then we're off to the jungles. This dungeon is a little bit of a maze, but I first want to find Kriya. Kriya will actually be the first of 3 bosses here. Next is Gorz the Mighty, and then we go find this Bruce and get a weapon upgrade before we finally fight Role Scaleback, the final boss of the Jungle Ruins. Then we just have to travel all the way to the top of the Jungle Ruins to find some buzz, probably important for lore, and now we can finally get out of here. Talk to Elias to learn where to go next. It's west. Try not to get lost in the spooky woods filled with the rather creepy foes. There's a very creatively named city to the west named Swamp Edge City. It's on the edge of the swamp. There's 2 NPCs there we can talk to, and we can get an armor upgrade if we collect the right loot before entering the last dungeon we need to explore before we can get the avatar. We're so close, I can almost taste it. It's taken hours to get to this point. And then it's another dungeon crawl. At this point, it was pretty mind-numbingly boring for me, so I dawdled around trying to get to the recommended level for fighting the Archmagus of Rue, and while I wasn't paying particularly close attention, this happened. I must say, it is exceedingly annoying and very inconvenient to die in the last room of the dungeon, but we're after an avatar and we're so close, so instead of rage quitting, I pressed on. Finally, back to the final room. It involves fighting 1 mini-boss to get the key to the next mini-boss who drops the key to the one after that, and repeat this process like 6 times until finally we get to fight the Archmagus of Rue. And once he falls, I just want out. There is a bunch of little bits you gotta do to get your next weapon upgrades, and I care only about one of those things, giving this Bunny the Clouded Gem, and in return he gives me an avatar. He also gives me something else pertinent to NeoQuest, I'm sure, but this is as far as I'll probably ever play this. This took almost 10 hours.